John Marston is more than just a cowboy. He's more than a former outlaw. He's more than just a character in Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption series. John Marston is a symbol of change, of guilt, of freedom. But to truly understand John Marston, we need to go beyond the 6-shooters, the campfires, and the classic Western tropes. We need to understand the man underneath the hat. In this essay, we'll explore who John Marston really is, not just as a character, but as a statement. John Marston's story is deeply embedded in the mythology of the American West. Like many Westerns before it, Red Dead Redemption romanticizes freedom, self-reliance, and untamed frontiers. But it also deconstructs those very ideals. When we first meet John in Red Dead Redemption, he's already on a mission, forced to hunt down his former gang members by the government in exchange for his family's freedom. Right from the start, we learn that this isn't a tale of unchained rebellion. It's a story about being cornered. The West is closing. The days of outlaws and open plains are numbered, and John Marston is caught in that transition. A man who lived by the gun and is now forced to submit to the lawmen and bureaucrats. He's a relic in a world that's moving on without him. The train has literally and metaphorically replaced the horse. Civilization is spreading, and John, like many figures in Western fiction, is struggling to find a place in a world that no longer wants men like him. What separates John from the traditional anti-hero is his conscience. Unlike Arthur Morgan, whose transformation from brutal enforcer to introspective philosopher happens during Red Dead Redemption 2, John begins his journey already burdened by guilt. He wants to believe that he's a changed man, a family man, a rancher, someone who's left the outlaw life behind him. But can a man ever truly escape his past? John's relationships with former gang members like Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and Dutch aren't just about betrayal. They're about failed brotherhoods and disillusionment. These were once the people John rode with, killed for, and bled alongside. Now he's hunting them like animals, not out of justice, but out of obligation. And yet, John never truly condemns them, at least not outright. There's always a layer of regret, a layer of lost camaraderie, of a time when he believed in something. Even Dutch, the man who raised him, isn't just a villain to John. He's a fallen father figure. Their final confrontation is less about vengeance and more about tragedy. What makes this complex is that John isn't seeking redemption because he's a good man. He's doing it because he has to. The government holds his family hostage, literally and emotionally. His redemption is not a choice, it's a transaction, and what makes it all the more tragic. Now, at the heart of John Marston's character is his family. Abigail and Jack. This is where the mask of the outlaw truly slips. In his interactions with them, we see glimpses of who John wants to be. He's awkward, he's stern. He's not good at expressing affection, but he tries. And in those attempts, we see a deeply human man. One shaped by violence, but desperate to raise his son away from it. Abigail often serves as the voice of reason. She sees John's blind spots and isn't afraid to call them out. Their relationship is strained, but believable. Not the idealized romance of fiction, but a real, weathered partnership. Jack, meanwhile, represents everything John never had. A chance at a future, education, stability, a life not defined by guns and survival. John's entire struggle, every bullet, every betrayal, is endured so that Jack can live a life free from the cycle of violence. The ranch segment, often criticized for its slower pace, is in fact one of the most critical parts of John's character arc. For a brief moment, we see the life that he fought for. Herding cattle, teaching Jack to hunt, fixing fences. It's mundane, but that's the point. It's peace. And just when he seems to have earned it, the past catches up to him. Now, John Marston dies a martyr. When the government agents finally come for him, he doesn't run. He sends his family away, stands in the barn door, and faces the firing squad. It's a powerful moment, one that cements John's legacy as a tragic hero. But it also raises a deeper question. Was redemption ever truly possible? The world never intended to let John go. They used him to clean up the remnants of the gang, and once his usefulness ran out, they discarded him. His death isn't a reward for doing the right thing. It's the punishment for being who he was. The irony is sharp. The same government that promised freedom murders him in cold blood. Civilization, progress, law, they aren't portrayed as heroic forces. They're cold, indifferent, and in many ways, more ruthless than the outlaws themselves. John dies not because he was evil, but because he tried to change. And in the eyes of a society hell-bent on order, that was never enough. Now, when Red Dead Redemption 2 released in 2018, it did more than give us another Rockstar masterpiece. It recontextualized everything we knew about John Marston. Through Arthur Morgan's eyes, we see a younger, more immature John. Someone reckless, unreliable, and still growing. We see the flaws that shaped him, the early seeds of the man he would then go on to become. Arthur's story, one of reflection, self-awareness, and sacrifice, serves as a mirror to John Marston's story. In many ways, Arthur becomes the moral compass that John lacked, and his dying wish is for John to live better. This gives John's story even more weight, because when we see him again after Arthur's death, trying to live a quiet life, trying to marry Abigail, trying to build a home, it all hits harder. Not just because we know how it ends, but because we now understand why it mattered. Arthur didn't die just for the gang. He died for John, so John could have a chance. And that makes John's eventual fate all the more heartbreaking. Now, to me, John Marston is one of gaming's most iconic characters. Not just because he was perfect, but because he wasn't. He was flawed, haunted, hopeful. He was a man trying to escape the consequences of a life he chose, trying to forge a new identity in a world that wouldn't let him forget the old one. His death wasn't just a plot point, it was a statement, a commentary on the cost of change, the cruelty of power, and the illusion of freedom in a world built on control. Understanding John Marston means understanding that redemption doesn't always come with a happy ending. Sometimes it's the quiet moments, the family dinners, the honest work, the lessons passed to your children that define a life more than the bullets ever could. And maybe, just maybe, Jack Marston, in avenging his father, continues that legacy. Not by escaping the violence, but by remembering who John was trying to be.
Bill! Bill, I've come for you! Bill Williamson! Come out here right now!
Go away now, John. Don't make me kill you.
Nobody needs to kill anyone, Bill. Screw it.
Right there.
Shit.
Imagine having to put down your own brother.
Oh my god.
Oh. Died last time. Come on. Let's go. Woo. Let's go. It's those father-son moments again. Oh, but now Freya's here as well.
That if you just build great games, everything would turn around.
And then the great games point is the one that I wanted to argue against heavily, because what is the point of your console if it's not for games? Like, what is the point of having a console if you're just gonna do Game Pass and cloud gaming? Like